Hi folks, welcome back to my tutorial. And for today's video, we're gonna take a look on what are the basic requirements or equipments on building a sound system. When we say basic, we might think of just a mixer and an output speaker. And that's it. Now, today we're gonna talk about the more professional way on building a sound system. And today we're gonna take a look on these units. First, we have a mixer. Next, we have a compressor. Next, we have a crossover unit. And last but not the least, we have a graphic equalizer. Now, there are many ways that you can connect these equipments. And today we will talk about the basic and most common configuration on connecting these devices. Again, here we have this mixer, we have the compressor, an active crossover unit, and at the bottom here we have this 31 band graphic equalizer. And for this demo, we will be using the two-way configuration. What I mean is, we will be setting up these equipments so that it can drive a pair of subwoofer and a pair of mid-highs, which will be your main PA. Now, we are looking on the rear panel. Again, we have this compressor unit, we have the crossover unit, and a graphic equalizer. And let us connect these things up. First, let's take the left output on your mixer and connect it to the left input of our compressor. Next, connect the right channel of our mixer and feed it to the right channel of our compressor. Now, during this setup, it is important to keep the cables neat. You should have a lot of time in setting up, because during the actual event or live situation, you do not have that much time. And there are some couple of times that you need to troubleshoot, and it will be very easy for you if you set the cables very neat. Next, let's take the output of compressor and feed it to the crossover. That will be the left channel, and this will be the right channel. Now, we have connected the mixer output going to the input of compressor, and we have taken the output of compressor and feed it to the input of our crossover. Again, we have decided to use this system into two-way configuration, and in order to use this into two-way configuration or two-way output, we have to set our crossover into stereo two-way. And in this case, it says here, stereo two-way, we have to press this button right here. And now it is set to stereo two-way. Next, again, we have the subwoofer output here, and we have the mid-high output, which will be here and here. Let's take the output of the left channel of crossover. And feed it to the left channel of our graphic equalizer. Next is the right channel. And feed it to the right channel of the graphic equalizer. And last but not the least will be the output. We'll take the output of this graphic equalizer and connect it to our speaker. And of course, we have the output subwoofer. Again, to recap, we have this left and right output from our mixer, and we connected here to our input of compressor, and then the output of compressor is fed to the input of crossover, and from the crossover unit we have taken the subwoofer output, and the mid-high output is fed to the left and right channel of our graphic equalizer. At this time, we can connect the power cord. Now, in setting up the system, you have to make sure that the speakers are turned up, including our amplifiers. And that's it. We have already connected the system as a whole. After maybe half an hour of setting up this system, we are now ready to set these parameters. For now, it is safe that you can switch on everything except your speakers unless you know what you are doing. Right now, I have a music playing and fed to my channel 7 and channel 8 of my mixer. First, as you see, I'm receiving a signal, and let's see the incoming. As you can see, I am on a safety level. And on my microphone, which is fed to my channel 1, check, test, check, 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 check. I am also on a safe level. This will be only a sample signal. And during the event, this is probably the only equipment that you're going to tweak all throughout until the event ends. Now let's proceed to this dynamics processor. As you can see, we have this compressor, crossover, and graphic equalizer. Now, they have their different jobs and they are very important to the system. The compressor compresses the signal. From the term itself, it is to reduce the signal so that the speakers will be safe. Next, we have the crossover, in which we feed a full range frequency and distribute to 3 different frequencies. But in this case, we configured this crossover to two-way output. We only have subwoofer output and mid-high output. Likewise, on the right channel, we have the full range input and subwoofer output and mid-high output. And lastly, this graphic equalizer. Now, this graphic equalizer is very important to the system, but as much as possible, we have to avoid tweaking these frequencies because it causes a lot of phase misalignment. Now, before you switch on your PA or your speakers, let's try to give the signal coming from the mixer. I'll push the fader for my music file. Now, as you can see, we are clipping this output, which means if our speakers are already turned on, we can blow it out. And it's not safe. That's why during this setting up of parameters, we have to at least set the initial settings and values for the knobs. Right now, as I can see, it's clipping. Maybe because of this one. Yes, it is. But still, I'm clipping my input on my right channel. Now, I have a unity input, which means I did not cut or boost the signal, but still I'm clipping. Which means the input is very high, coming from these two processors. For now, let us at least keep all the frequencies balanced. And before you switch on your PA, it is advisable to set your crossover output all to 0. Now, as you can see, we're on a safe level, but still it's better to keep it at 0. Now, we are receiving signal from the mixer. We sent it to our compressor, and from compressor, we sent it to our crossover unit, and from crossover unit, we'll send it to our graphic equalizer. As you can see, we are getting a very good signal. Likewise, on the right channel, now we are getting a very good level of signal. And then, now we can set the crossover frequency between the subwoofer and mid-high. Let's say, for example, 110 Hz and 110 Hz. It means below 110 Hz, that will be for the subwoofer. And above 110 Hz, that will be for the mid-high. Now, as you can see on the compressor, we are not deducting any signal. Let's say, for example, as initial value, just as initial value. Let me set this threshold in the middle and then give a little of probably 2:1. As you can see, we are having an output signal and we are deducting it around probably 6 dB. So much. Maybe let's tweak it somewhere here. Increase the threshold. Now we are deducting like 2 dB. Now our output is very high. Keep it at 0 or unity. And our limiter, set it probably, let's say, positive 12 dB. And now we have set this compressor, but we have not yet activated it. So let's press this in out and in out. Now for the gate, gate is used to eliminate especially the noise or the hum. Let me take out the music file and set the gate. Engage the gate, and set it. Once you see this, it means it cuts that noise. Then the attack, I want it to be very fast. release, I want it to be very fast too. Then let's check the IO meter. I want it to see the output. And like for example, you only have a male host or MC, then you can set this, the SR to male, activated. Of course, we have to activate it. And I think we're set. And one more thing, we can press also this auto button, which is very nice. And let's see. I'm going to play music again. And now we are in a very safe signal level. Now let's check the microphone. Check, 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 check mic, check, test, check, 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 test, check, check. As you can see, if I'm not speaking, you can see that the gate is being activated. Check, check, test. And then I'm also on the same level, but let me just shout. Test, test, check. Still I'm on the same level, but for the sake of being more safe on the PA, let's decrease the threshold somewhere here and here. Check, test, check, check. As you can see, as I speak, we have an output signal, and at the same time, I'm decreasing it. Check, 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 check. And now is the time that we can switch on the PA. Now let's just try to play music. My subwoofer is not giving signal because it's on the minimum. Now we're done setting up this compressor and crossover unit. Now, at this point in time, we have to tune the PA and remove that ringing. When we say ringing, that is the frequency giving you a feedback, which is resonating, and it really depends on the room. If you are in a arena, then probably there will be feedback. If you are in a hall, then there will be feedback too. If you are in a church, there is a very high possibility of giving you a feedback, and we have to ring that out. Right now, I'm using an RTA analyzer. And with this, we can see what frequency is ringing. Check, test, check, 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 check. I'm going to point my microphone to the speaker. Check, test, check, 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 check. You see that around 8K? We can cut that off. 4K, cut that off. Around 6.3. And around 5. And now we're good. Check, test, check, check. Now, if we can see, we have ring out the feedback. And let's try if we bypass this equalizer. And now we're good. Now, as I have mentioned earlier, as much as possible, we have to avoid tweaking so much frequency because it causes a lot of phase misalignment. And it really makes the sound very muffled. Or let's say it's hollow. And I think we're good to go. Sorry, I don't have music right now. Now, there's one more thing that I want to share. There are couple of times that we will be setting up with an acoustic band. And in that case, we have to set a separate monitor for them. And with that, we have to allocate another set of these equipments. But this time, mostly the monitors out in the market is a full range. It means we don't need this crossover unit. Instead, we only need compressor to limit the signal, and this time the graphic equalizer is very much useful to eliminate the feedback on the monitor. Now, let's connect this thing up. Now, for the monitor on the stage, which will be allocated for the band, I'm going to get the signal from my auxiliary 2 out. And feed the signal to my compressor. And from my compressor, I'll send the signal to my EQ. And lastly, from my EQ to my speaker. And again, just a reminder, before you switch this on, make sure that your monitor is currently off or switch off.